Well, yeah, that we're putting this. So what we're trying to do is that we will write up the article, which is essentially a transcription of what we're talking about today in this interview, and we're trying to also put the recording up on YouTube and embed that link into our article for USC Games. There, I'm, if you're okay with this, first of all.
Yeah, I'm okay with this.
Perfect. And I might go on tangent and not according to the lists that we have provided, which there's no chance that you'll embarrass yourself. I find that people become a little off guard when I ask questions that they weren't preparing for.
No, that's fine. There's a more genuine approach in that sense, so I understand.
Yeah, I'm trying to really thread everything together more naturally. So
okay. Oh, he says he's ready. Let me make sure to send him that link. You should be in the same email thread though.
I don't think he was CC'd, but
okay. Yeah, let me just send
if you forwarded anything, that would work.
Okay, we'll do. Sent it to him just now. Let's see. I already said 2 seconds. All right. So in the meantime, how's your day been?
Oh, I want one thing to go well, honestly.
What do you mean? Is everything not really been going well? Kind of rough?
Kind of rough today. But I'm hoping that this is the one thing that will go well. And I have a feeling that it has to. At this point, it has to.
That's completely fine. I get it. Can I ask, have you done more interviews for today, or is it just other tasks that have been kind of getting overwhelming?
Mostly other tasks. I also interviewed Coach Joe Jacko today for USC.
Yeah.
So it should be an interesting, juxtaposition of two interviews.
I see. And are you a part of USC, or are you just a third party?
I'm a USC. I'm a USC Annenberg student, so I'm in the School of Journalism, and I'm working as a student worker for USC Games.
I see.
As a department. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Hello.
How is it going? How are you?
I am okay. I'm a bit tired from scrim, but all good.
Perfect. Well, you're here, so that's more than we could have asked for.
It's true. Okay, so how do you want to get started?
Let me just I have a feeling that I didn't turn the transcript on, which is right. Okay. And maybe we'll need to see the subtitles. Okay. So, all right, welcome coaches. This is for the upcoming Conquest game that we're playing USC against UCLA on Thursday, November the 18th at USC on campus, in person with a live audience. So we're really happy to have the coaches from UCLA. So why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourself, to us a little bit, what you've done in terms of your coaching experience.
Yeah, I'll start off. My name is Danny Diaz. I'm part of the, as you said, UCLA organization. I've started my coaching career as a coach in CSUN in the years 2018. And throughout that, I progressed in a company called WeThink. And it's more coaching players on soft skills. So I was able to transfer soft skills into my coaching patterns and to keep enhancing that. I went under a credential of Nurture Gaming to understand the healthy philosophies of what coaching esports is all about in a team setting. Exactly. And then here I am with UCLA as my first quarter or first semester. they gave me my first opportunity as a head coach of JV, and I'm here to act as one of the assistant coaches for varsity for communications.
Awesome.
And yeah, I'm Ian. I'm also going by Ido. I'm currently the head coach of EG Prodigies, which is EG's amateur team. I've been coaching for about like 4 years now. Got my start also in collegiate, so I'm really familiar and just hoping to have a good tournament and give these guys a good baseline to where they can keep learning even past my time. So that's really the goal.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And in terms of, being a coach, what really motivated you to kind of put yourself, in this role? What were some of interests that or experiences that led to your decision?
Yeah, so I was a player originally, and I figured like I wasn't really that good at it, but I could kind of easily point out like the mistakes in myself and the mistakes in others. And I was always kind of a leader growing up, even in team sports. So I figured that it's kind of an easy route for me to follow since I've already got like the game knowledge, I've got the people skills to do it. So it just kind of felt like an obvious transition for me.
Yeah,
I
and
love
then
that when coaches
sorry,
say
yeah.
that they don't play well. I'm sure that's not true, but
Maybe
go ahead,
like
Dan.
the vast majority, but as far as pro players go, no.
No, there. I mean, he's right. There are some times where you know the knowledge of the game itself, but like when it comes to actually performing the task,
I see.
that's where it gets a little messed up. So you can have the micro and the macro. The macro is great, but just the micro part of actually playing the game, clicking the mouse, and accomplishing that just doesn't go through. For myself, when it came to starting my esports career, I played football, so that was my one source of like knowing where coaching is coming from. I noticed that it's a lot of emotional involvement when it came to people coaching, whether that's just yelling. I remember this one time when I was playing football that the coach asked me like, why aren't you getting mad? If you get mad, you get more physical, you play stronger. And I didn't understand that. So no matter what was said, I kind of kept a cool head and trying to think like, what's the point of using emotion when most of this is just knowledge and technique that is practiced over time. So as a player going into League of Legends, transferring this over, I noticed that some coaches do this as well, where they kind of mention where you lack certain skills, point it out, but without giving advice. And that's kind of one of the issues I had with coaching. Is what I wanted to improve on is just be more elaborative on what are the flaws of a player or a team as a whole. Because being in a great team is more than just being great micro-wise or being good individually, but it's how you communicate, it's how you problem solve together. In that sense, it's about the group skill that you develop. And because that group skill can be universal, it can be transferred into the workforce. And that's what I want to instill into my players.
Are there any similarities or differences, in addition to what you already touched on, between the two, esports and traditional ones?
Yeah. One quote that sticks in my head that transfers immediately is, you practice how you play, and vice versa, you play how you practice. And if my players aren't taking practice seriously, I notice that their plays in game, although they're trying more often, they won't be playing at capacity because they were not trying as hard as they could have during practice. So that's one. Another one is being accountable. So being accountable was very important in football because there are 11 players in a game and there are 5 players in league. And because there are fewer amount of players in league, every player matters more. So if one domino falls, there is effect afterwards.
That's a great analogy, and obviously with the theme of Conquest, which was traditionally just a football game between USC and UCLA.
Yeah.
And now we have esports as well, which is very exciting. And what makes it even more exciting this year is that finally we're able to come together in person, attend events, watch this with all the fans. So how are you feeling personally, and what are you looking forward to the most at this event?
Okay. Ian, go
Well,
ahead.
Yeah, I'm not going to be there in person, unfortunately, but I think that obviously there's like a school rivalry there, and the players know each other very well. Um, so it's a little bit extra than what you would envision with like a typical game. So that's something to keep in mind. And although I don't really have any ties to that rivalry or those feelings that the players may have, I kind of feed off of it as well. So as bad as they want it, I want it as well, and I want to make sure that I can do right by them and give them a good experience that they're going to remember either way.
Oh, for sure. The competitive spirit. I think it's just a good, it's a festival that everybody wants to be a part of. What about you, Danny?
For me, it's two emotions. It's anxious and excited. The reason I'm excited is because growing up as a kid, it's like, oh, who do you root for college? It's either USC or UCLA. And growing up, it's UCLA is those for that work hard, and USC is those for just to work just as hard, but also in money as well. So I really didn't understand that part. So I just like it's either one or the other. You choose red or you choose blue based on colors, but in the sense I'm anxious and excited. And the reason I'm anxious is because I feared public crowds before COVID, but not seeing anyone for a long time made me want to start seeing everybody and start connecting. To see the joy in my players' faces when competing in esports, and in that environment, I want them to know that we're here in this together. Being in person sets that foundation for community. And that's what I love. I love the fact that in a team setting, it's more than just your peers and you're working together with your peers. I want to make sure that my players know that we're there for each other, whether that be like in the game or out of game. It's to just be connected.
Thank you for that. Before we, I just want to point out that USC has been called bougie, but UCLA was.
Dang.
Which is fair. So you've talked about you get to see the team dynamic when it's in person. Tell us more about that. Like, what do the teams look? What does your team look like this year? What kind of players are coming to USC?
Okay, Ian, what have you seen in our players?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with how they were in the past, but as far as this year, I think we've got a really talented group of people that all want to improve. Obviously, they care a lot. I can see it in them when they play and see it when they interact with me in review. I think they want it really, really badly. And again, the thing is that whatever their emotion is, it kind of feeds back into me. So as far as like Conquest goes and this season and our group of guys, I think even down to JV, like we've got 10 plus people that all care a lot, and it's important that we make the right roster selections each week. It's important that I'm evaluating people that maybe aren't on my starting roster, and honoring their hard work as well with maybe some tryouts or some one-on-ones with them. So everyone from top to bottom feels really motivated to play, and it's a lot of fun to be around them.
Anything to add, Danny?
I from the team perspective, Ian has been working more with them, but he has mentioned that he looks at everybody, and he's not kidding. He looks at everyone to give their opportunity and fair share. Just recently, one of our JV players have been promoted into varsity, and he's been gunning for this position since the start. At first, they told him he lacked the communication. So what did he do? He became a leader inside JV. He became one of the shot callers and someone that helps the team if they have questions, whether that's in game or out of game. He'd had a second tryout, and they told him he needs to work on his micro. And so what did he do? He proved himself a third time. And by that time, he had nothing else but to show that he was that player for that spot.
That's a wonderful example.
Yeah.
Of how the team is preparing for this match and just more games for Pac-12 in the future as well. So can you tell us a little bit more about, without giving too much detail, I understand. What the preparation has looked like for you guys.
Yeah, so it's kind of taken the form of evaluating our roster a lot. Like Danny said, we recently moved up the JV top laner to play for us at Conquest, and I think the prep for us has less been around the game and more about, do we have the 5 best players in the short term that we think is going to give us a good shot at performing well. So most of our prep has been done in the form of really thorough player evaluation, making sure that no stone is unturned. Because, like I said, even JV and beyond, with players that maybe didn't make the team or don't have the time to commit to a full season, we're looking at them as well. So we've been really thorough in that, and I think that we've got a pretty solid roster going forward for Conquest.
Okay. And from you, Danny.
So from what I've seen and what I want to add to what Ian just mentioned is that the players, we choose the best ones, but alongside that, we choose the ones that are compatible with each other, because you don't want all just a bunch of one NBA analysis. LeBron James is in one team
Mhm.
because they're all going to try to want to take control, but you need people that have balance of being the person that will be a follower, as long as you have your leaders as well. You have, well, in league, you have 1 to 2 leaders, but in general, you want a team that has cohesion and can maintain that communication, that can maintain who has the decision-making process, and then will our team follow up with that? And that's the goal we strive for, is to make sure that everyone is in unison and on the same page.
And anything outside of, the skill sets or the more technical side of things, how you are executing, any, like you mentioned before, communications or the soft skills that you're trying to improve on for the, when during your training for your teams. Could you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, for my players in JV and the top laner that's going in, we've worked with an application called WeThink, and WeThink has instilled soft skills in how they transfer over into esports. And those skills that we prioritize are leadership, teamwork, communication, problem solving, and character. And the most important to me is character. A lot of these players coming in, they're young, so they have a lot of excitement going in. Sometimes they can be carried away, and sometimes it could be a toxic environment. And the important part is just to humble each player down and to let them know, like, hey, even though this is for fun, you still have to maintain that respectable approach to anything you do, because I want you to transfer not only from this to esports, but if you want to go into a different field, you have those soft skills within you based on from esports. So that's what we used. We used the WeThink Inc. platform to help the soft skills within a player.
Okay, yeah, that's great to hear that it's not just about winning a particular game, but it's also about developing the team, the players as an individual, and preparing them for future careers, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
But for the team, for the game this year per se, what are some of your hopes and expectations specifically that you want to see from them?
At least on my end, I'm looking for, this is a way to kind of excite the team. Scrims can get kind of monotonous, so it's important to break that mold and give them something to look forward to. I don't really have too many expectations out of it, because it is kind of early on in the collegiate season. We're just looking to form baselines, and if this is going to be any indicator of what's to happen in CLAW, so like how they act in competitive games, how they communicate with each other under stress, I think that's a great part that we aren't going to really get, or other teams aren't going to really get further on in the season. So it's important that we see it now, and it's a really great opportunity to see that.
Anything to add, Danny?
Yeah, so as students and staff that are going in person, we're all going to be going into a bus together. And during that bus ride, they're handing out burritos. So then we're gonna have that bonding time within Conquest. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is that bonding time to make sure that we, stay connected, that we're just more than an esports program, but just to stay together as a family. And the reason why it's really important for us to attend this Conquest is, one, we want to show our worth here, and then to take that rivalry win for us. I know you're part of the USC program, but I'm really gunning for that win, and we'll be assisting as much as I can to get that win.
Well, that's good to know. But just maybe this goes back to prove your point that we're bougie. Our team has gone out to Korean barbecue in comparison to burritos.
This is just breakfast burritos. This is just on the way there. All right.
All right.
We've gotten there. Trust me. We do similar things. We're very similar. It's just not this time. We got to be efficient.
Well, you do you. I'm no judgment, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And everybody is looking forward to the rivalry, like you've said. And this is our last question for you today. So give us your best one-liner trash talk against USC.
Danny, you go first. I don't have a place here.
Okay. All right. My one-liner is, just like the Trojan War, you guys are hosting Conquest. I feel like you're gonna lose it too. Plain and simple.
That's a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one. Oh, I like it.
Better team's gonna win.
And you should put a summary like equivalent better team wins. UCLA.
This is like the Kawhi Leonard type of trash talking. It's just like,
oh yeah,
stating a fact that
do with it what you want.
Yeah, do it what you want, and then we're transferring over that fact and why it's relevant to here.
Right. It can't be disputed at all.
I mean, it can.
That's on you. However you interpret it. I'm just saying.
Well, we'll take it. We'll happily, Thank you, coaches, so much for your time today. I've had a lot of fun talking to you both. I know it's very brief, but we're looking forward to having you guys on campus, well, one of you guys, and the team on campus on Thursday, November the 18th. And stay tuned for our upcoming article at USC Games.
Thank you for the opportunity for the interview.
Thank you.
And take care.
Thank you. Hold on. Let me pause.